Folks, welcome live to Casey's in Black Rock. We are here at Parrino Palooza. It's playoff week. Your heart's pumping. You're sweating just thinking about this Saturday matchup versus the Houston Texans. But we've got Matt Parrino, myself, Maniac from Trainwreck Sports, and we are ready to launch. We're ready to get some fan perspective. We're ready to get this playoff week underway.
So let me give them a little bit about what's actually going on here. So a couple of weeks ago, I put out a big Twitter contest. 25,000 followers. I want to give a little bit back to Bills Mafia because they've taken care of me since I got here. So I said, I want to give 5 fans the chance to either come out and hang out with me or do the playoff preview, Bills versus Texans. I knew there was going to be a playoff preview, even though we launched this thing back at Thanksgiving because of the way the Bills have been playing this season.
Big time confidence move by you.
Yeah, it was a little bit presumptuous, but I'm a presumptuous kind of guy. By the way, do you think I would win if we play darts?
If we play darts, I'm a big cricket guy. I did have a dartboard growing up in my room. No ping pong table, no pool table. I was a dartboard guy. That's how you grow up with grit, playing darts. I think I'd give you a run for your money.
I think you would too, but the big thing that I want to do is talk about what is happening with this Buffalo Bills football team. Because listen, I grew up a Bills fan. I was out in Vegas for a couple of years. It has not been very rosy for this team, the last couple of decades. But it's a whole new world. It's a whole new fan base that seems to be growing and growing. Everybody, it's the cool thing nationally to jump aboard the Bills Mafia train. And you know about trains.
Yeah, and we know about trains. We know they never stop. We've got Bills Mafia ready to rock here with a number of topics. But one thing first, just as much as this Bills team has been popping this year, the last 18 months, it's been a ride. Because obviously you run this tournament or this contest for your fans. You've seen tremendous growth. What has been the most interesting thing working, because basically your job became working with Bills Mafia every day, reporting to them, giving them the inside info you're getting, giving them your perspective. What's the most interesting part of that you've learned over the past 18 months?
I think, growing up in it, when I was going to Bills games back in the day, it was known as the 12th man, what I mean? And it was before the whole mafia phenomenon exploded. Actually, shout out to Della Reed, my guy. He was going to be here tonight, but family
first.
Family first.
Doesn't matter if it's
a
playoff
holiday
week or,
exactly.
off-season.
But, they've been so good to me, and in turn, I want to be good to them because, listen, at the end of the day, there is not a fan base, and I covered the UFC for 5 years. Fight fans love content all the time. There's not a fan base in the world that scoops up content and wants to know about their team or their player or whatever more than Bills Mafia. So this is something that I wanted to give back a little bit. We have 5 really cool dudes that I met today. Shout out to Ashley Petty. She won the contest as well, but she couldn't be here tonight. She was sick, so we called in a ringer. We went to the bullpen. We got the lefty.
Sometimes you got to call up someone from the practice squad. That's what you got to do.
And we'll get to him. He's actually on deck. Okay. We're going to start off with my man RJ, who can kind of explain a little bit about his Twitter handle. All right, questions.
All right,
come on out, brother.
Get on in here, RJ. Wow.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome to Parrino Palooza.
Hey, how's it going?
It's underway.
By the way, I didn't come up with that name. By the way, you came up with that.
Oh, that's trademarked. Shout out Honda City.
Okay.
Happy Honda Days to everyone out there.
So a little bit about yourself. You are RJ. What's your Twitter handle?
Literally RJ Gavidan. Like, it's my full name. So
Awesome.
Nothing, no nicknames.
We appreciate that move. Both of our Twitter handles are just our name. I mean, sometimes you got to play it straight. Sometimes you can't illegally change your last name to sports just to make it seem like you're really important. Nothing.
That'll come later. So, Bills, Texans. 3-point dog to open, going on the road where the Bills have been very successful this year. And you told me a little bit beforehand, that there is a key matchup that you're keen in on that you think the Bills can take advantage of.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of an underrated matchup, one that most people probably aren't thinking of because their offense hasn't been super stellar this year. But I think, honestly, using Dawson Knox, he's going to be a key factor for us on offense, not only with his blocking, but if we could get matchups with him on linebackers or safeties, whether it's 4 wide sets and using him in the slot. Obviously, you don't want to take Beasley off the field. You don't want to take John Brown off. He's not coming off the field anyways. But if we could use him lined up, motion him out, it'll also help Josh recognize the coverages. If we could get a linebacker on him, a safety on him, I feel like that's a matchup we could have used all game. And easy pickings, honestly.
I got to tell you, I really like it. I think Dawson Knox is a guy that has, I think, impressed from the start of this season. If you go back to the beginning of the year, he kind of burst back on the scene after he came back from the injury. Really has had some big moments this year. One thing, the knock on him, though, has been, can he catch it? And I think that one of the cool things about this team is that even for the guys that maybe struggle a little bit or have some down moments, the other guys around them lift them up. Josh Allen told me specifically he still has a lot of confidence in Dawson Knox, and I think that you're right. That could be a matchup.
He's shown that multiple times this year. Like anytime Dawson Knox has a drop in the game, he goes right back to him. Most of the time, Dawson will make the play, go a little bit of Rambo on people. It'll be a great time.
Yeah, by the way, I got to take a little credit for that. The Rambo pick.
Was that you?
That was me. I saw that. I saw that shirt in the locker room. I was like, dude, the people need this. They need this from you. And everybody picked that up. I mean, it went crazy.
You were spreading it like wildfire. And we might be at Casey's in Black Rock, but I feel like I'm at Cold Stone Creamery. Because this take from RJ, I don't like it. I don't love it. I gotta have it. I love getting Dawson Knox. I don't care if it's Dawson's Creek. I don't care if it's Fort Knox. You gotta get that guy unleashed. And I like it because it's like a tree, right? Your tree of a take is that Dawson Knox needs to get going. But the roots of it is that we gotta make things easy for Josh Allen on the road in this matchup.
Yes.
100%. This was a great opener. You came in. You were the leadoff hitter.
That's why we knew.
You got on base.
Put your best foot forward, as they
Come with them
say.
haymakers.
Exactly. So follow him on Twitter. Great follow. Always engaging. Thank you so much, my man.
Of course.
Awesome.
Let's get this dub this weekend.
So next up, we are going to go rapid fire here. We got 5 fans that won this contest, and they each have something that they want to talk about. Because guess what? The Bills are in the playoffs. It's a whole new world, if you will. If you'll indulge me, my daughter watches a lot of Disney shows, so she loves the Aladdin and Frozen. Frozen's a big one.
Oh, but let it go, let it go. That's how I'm treating the drought going forward. I'm going to pretend like it never even happened. Playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. I think we're going to be rolling to that topic shortly, but it's just amazing. Bills fans for 10 to 15 years, we grew conditioned to talking about a team that was mediocre, a team that was subpar. Now they're good. It's not surprising that more than ever, more people are coming out and love to talk about it.
Exactly. The next guy that's going to talk about it is my man AJ, who is pinch hitting, coming in out of the bullpen, whatever you want to say. What's up, my man? How are you?
Good, how are you?
And I know Buffalo Fanatics will love this shirt, man. And honestly,
It really does feel that way sometimes.
It does, it really does.
Everybody in the locker room has embraced this motto. From
Yes.
Brian Dable to Sean McDermott, I think, had it on one day. All the players in the locker room, they love it. And before we get to it, what does Buffalo versus everybody mean to you?
I think we're always looked at as the underdog, and now that we're in the playoffs, we're still underlooked as a team. No one thinks we're going to go anywhere, but I think if we put it together, we have a real shot at it.
Okay. Houston Texans, Buffalo Bills on the road. Josh Allen has played pretty well, especially the second half of the season.
Yes.
Little known fact.
Uh-oh.
Josh Allen's 2 touchdown passes against New England. Only 2 quarterbacks this season have done that, 2 or more against the New England Patriots. Josh Allen and Deshaun Watson. They play on Saturday. What is your big key to this game?
The Buffalo Bills championship defense that has been there all year.
Championship defense.
yeah.
Love
What's
it.
your favorite part about this defense?
Trey White.
Ooh. Starting off with, did you see a little heat today on Twitter?
DeAndre
Yeah.
Hopkins post on Instagram.
Yeah, what'd he say?
He said I don't know exactly, but it was something at Trey White.
He's
It
like,
was 2020, and it basically was him mossing on Trey White. I mean, that's unacceptable. I mean, that's like dragging you out in the middle of the street and saying, you're not a man, you're nothing, you're the dirt on my boot. Trey White better be ready to shut him down like an Apple computer.
yeah, that. A lot of fans are excited about this matchup. But defensively speaking, this Bills defense did a good job against them last year. Obviously, Kyle Williams in the middle. Raphael Bush was still a part of this defense. Some new pieces. But what do you like most about what they can kind of do against this, what can be a high-powered attack?
I like that. I think Trey White won't be able to totally shut down D-Hop. Obviously, top 3 receiver, no doubt. But he will be able to limit him. I know last year he did okay. He had a touchdown catch, but it was very contested. I like the defensive pressure we can get on their weak O-line. I don't think their O-line is that great. So if Shaq can get healthy, 100%, we have him. Hughes, Murphy's coming off a 2-sack performance. I think we can really get pressure to D. Watson and force him into some turnovers.
AJ, you said that Trey White fared pretty well against him last year. I agree.
Yeah.
What was it, about 50 yards and a touchdown?
Yeah.
Would you take that performance out of Hopkins this Saturday if you could sign up for it right now?
Yes, I would, because I don't I don't know if they can make any. I mean,
Yeah,
if
they
Will
can't
Fuller
beat us
plays-
outside of
yeah.
Hopkins. They got nothing. Fuller's hobbled.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's hobbled team. I looked at that injury report for the Texans. It looks like their full roster was limited.
And good news on Shaq Lawson. You mentioned him a little bit
Yeah.
earlier. I saw him out on the practice field today. He looked like getting close to 100%. He said yesterday it's not going to be an issue, so he should be full systems going. I think he's a huge part of things
Yes.
because the Houston Texans are a team that if you let them run the ball a little bit, that's when things can kind of get out of whack, because that's when Deshaun Watson can start picking you apart with the RPO game, what he's able to really do from the quarterback position, whether it be running or passing.
Yeah.
So some great stuff, man.
Yeah.
You excited about this game?
I am. I've never. Well, the Jacksonville game was, there, but I didn't have that much confidence knowing our offense was a little more limited than now. But I feel we have a good shot at this, and I'm excited being a fan for 12 years and being part of the drought for all of them except these last two out of three. So
Awesome, man. We'll enjoy it.
Not
I
letting him
appreciate
off the hook that easy, though. Besides Trey White, who's another defensive player you're looking to have a big game on Saturday?
Matt Milano.
The Cookie Monster, Matt
love
Milano.
Matt Milano. I absolutely love the guy. He's one of the most underrated linebackers in all of football. He's great.
Couldn't have said it better
Well,
myself.
enjoy this one, man.
Yeah, I
Thank
will.
you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving right along.
Moving right along, this
You got this
atmosphere
one.
at Casey's, it's crazy. I mean, where else would you rather be than right here, right now, gearing up for playoff week? What are we, about just under 100 hours from game time now? Right
Yeah.
around there. I'm not a math
I'm a writer,
major,
so
but yeah.
you don't come to me for math.
Yep,
but
we're
shout
inside.
out. We're doing shout outs. Shout out to Vinny, the owner of Casey's,
Oh, yeah, big time.
letting us come in here and do all this stuff tonight. And it's a cool atmosphere, like you said. There's bubble hockey, which I'm pretty sure Mr. Sal Capaccio is going to get involved in a little bit later tonight.
Well, actually, Max Capaccio
There
was
you
putting
go.
on a clinic.
That's the
He
main
was
event.
Actually, to
That's
be
the main
honest,
event.
It was pretty insane.
But next we're gonna go to the rim. We're gonna go hard to the rim.
Let's go.
We're gonna throw
Let's
an
go.
alley-oop, and we're gonna bring in my man Pat Washington. What's up, my man? Come on in here.
Wow, let's go. Wow, he was actually acting like he was getting like subbed into the game. I love everybody. Let's go. Let's
I
go.
always know how to make my.
I told our producer, I was like, make sure that you got that swivel on lock, because you're gonna probably have to bring it down a little bit for my man.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you get
How
my
tall are
good
you?
side. I'm 6'6".
6'6",
Yeah.
6'6". Big Bills fan. How long you been a Bills fan?
All my life, I grew up here in Buffalo. Kind of in those years, my formative years when they were going to Super Bowls. It was really good time. Looking forward to those times coming back.
That's awesome. So remind me real quick. We all kind of picked a topic that we're gonna talk about.
Right.
What are we talking about?
The biggest win since.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because right now, you're talking about a potential playoff win. The Bills haven't won a playoff game since 1995.
Right.
They've had some big wins over the years.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest win? This would be the biggest win since when?
I'm actually going to take it back. I had some conversations with the guys. I was talking to my uncle, and the 1988 season. That game
Throwback.
actually took place January 1st, 1989. We played the Houston Oilers. The 4 years before that season, we're all losing seasons. So this was a young team. They had Jim Kelly, they had Bruce Smith, Andre, all those guys were there. But this was the first big organizational win in a long time. First home game at Rich Stadium, playing the Houston Oilers. I mean,
Yeah, it's fitting.
Yeah, it's all it is. So it was one of those sort of organizational defining moments for the team, and I think we're all hopeful that this kind of is one of those moments for us here.
Who can forget? I mean, January 1st, 1989. I was but -9 months old, just a twinkle in my father's eye. But that's why it's going to be the biggest win. Like you said, the most appropriate thing is in my lifetime. I mean, we hit an awesome part of this season around week 11, week 12, where it was every single game was the biggest game they were playing in 10 to 15 years? I mean, it's just been amazing the way they've turned it around and they've made it, just part of the culture.
And here's a good kind of something to kind of hang your hat on if you're a Bills fan, is that this team has talked about it this week. Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, battle tested. They've gone on the road in tough environments, national stages, and they've been really good. I mean, Josh Allen, he's faced much better defenses on national TV in the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys than the one he's going to face this weekend.
He has. And he's performed well. For whatever reason, he seems a little bit more composed on the road. I think some of that's been that he hasn't played as good at defenses on the road as he has at home. I'm hopeful that they're able to move the ball and control things. Hopefully, if he settles in early, that'll lead to more success. Hopefully, they get the run game going. A lot of things need to go right for us. But that game in '89, '88 game actually turned on a Steve Tasker play. If I had to give sort of a take, it would be that I think it's going to be something like that that's going to sort of turn the tide. I'm looking for Robert Foster, a guy that really hasn't been amongst the most popular people. Some people are Duke Williams or Robert. I think he's going to make a big play. I think it's going to turn on a special teams play. He's been really successful as a gunner recently. I think something like that, one of those kind of mistakes, really turns in our favor. We win a close game, 26-24.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because if you go back to the game last year against Houston, it was 2 fumbles early on in the game by Ray McLeod. The second one, a costly one. The Houston Texans turn around, score a touchdown.
Right.
And, those are the kind of things that could completely flip this game on its head.
Pick 6, I
Yes.
think, to end that game.
I wasn't going to even bring up Nathan Peterman, man. I didn't want to do that to you. But I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, we were with this team. I know lots changed on both sides of the ball for them and for us, but I feel like this is a team we can play with. I'm expecting good things. We'll see.
Here we go.
Are you worried about Watt?
He wasn't incredibly productive the first day again. He had 4 sacks.
Yeah.
At this point, I think maybe he's more of a rotation. I think it's probably more what he's doing for them in the locker room than anything else.
I couldn't be less worried about him, honestly. I think he's going to be about as effective as a screen door on a submarine.
Which is not effective at all. No.
Yeah, I mean, he might maybe he'll throw a salute coming out for pregame intros, but that's about as big an impact he's going to have in this game.
Yeah.
If you can't swim move and you're J.J. Watt, sorry, buddy, you're out.
Not to mention,
it's a good night now, as Al would say.
Not to mention his effectiveness as a pass rusher. How long is he going to be out there? I tweeted earlier today, I really think that 35% of the snaps would be about a high mark for where I think he would be going in this game. Conditioning is a big thing in this game.
Yeah.
They're all the players in the locker room talked about it this week. There's a little bit of an uptick in the speed of the game in the playoffs. And with that, you're going to get more tired. And I just think that J.J. Watt, rehabbing for 2 months, not being in football activity, it's going to to be tough for him to get out there and have an impact.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I think,
Pat, thank you so much, my man.
26-21. Let's go.
I appreciate you. All right, so we're moving right along. Oh, you got something to say?
Yeah, Vinny got me on another blue light from Vinny. All right, that's huge. Great service here at Casey's. I mean, no place I'd rather be.
Who made that saying famous?
Every Bills player this year when we were starting the game?
Yeah, and actually Steve Tasker. I think Steve Tasker actually did it the best this year.
He said it could flip on a special teams game. I want to talk to you because we talk about Duke. You can't not talk about the Bills and not talk about Duke. Andre Roberts is a name you hear a lot about. But it's like you said, Ray McLeod, you needed stability in that special teams game. So, I mean, ultimately, where do you fall yourself? Pro-Duke? Anti-Duke?
Well, first of all, I'll say pro-Duke. What a story. I'm a journalist. I'm a writer. I like telling those stories. I've had a really fun time talking with Duke Williams this year. From a football perspective, there's a few things to consider. Number one, he had 2 games in a row when he was active last where he just was pretty ineffective. Whether it be
the haters point to those games.
Whether it be on Josh Allen or whether it be on Duke Williams, it's a production-based league. So if you're not producing, it's next man up. The Bills really like Isaiah McKenzie, and they really like Robert Foster on special teams. So if you activate Duke Williams for one of those players, what does he bring to the table? Is he more versatile than Isaiah McKenzie? Can he play special teams?
Yeah.
No. Here's a little bit of a fun idea.
Not so fast from Parrino.
What if Levi Wallace can't go on Saturday? He's made ineffective, and they on a flyer because of the depth with Taron Johnson and Saran Neal.
Oh no!
They throw Duke Williams into the game, so they have Duke Williams, Isaiah McKenzie, John Brown, and Cole Beasley available. Throw them out there for maybe 40% of the snaps. Ask them to get physical. Really, which by the way, 2 of those defenders, Jonathan Joseph, Bradley Roby, pair of really good corners, banged up. Both have hamstring injuries, so you might want a physical presence in there as well.
If Duke Williams is active because of Levi Wallace being inactive, that would be the biggest roster conundrum since Adam Banks was reinserted to the lineup for Charlie Conway and Mighty Ducks 2.
Dude, that's 2 tonight.
Yeah,
that's 2 Mighty Ducks references.
You can't max out on them. I'm not going to go to 1, but I did 3 and 2.
All right, we're moving right along.
It's playoffs. We got to use our best foot forward.
I like it. Next up, we're going to go to Doug, my man Doug. We're going to bring him in here. What's up, brother?
Let's go, Doug.
So, a little background on Doug. He won the contest. And he's like, man, I just want to come out and have a beer with you. And I said, you know what, Doug? I went through your Twitter handle a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I want to hear your takes. So, bring it up to me. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the drought.
Was it a
different time, or is it still too recent?
So, 17 years, that's how long it lasted between the playoff game in 99 and the playoff game in 2017. Now, the last 3 years under Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, 2 playoff berths in 3 seasons. So does it feel like you're part of a winning culture, or does it feel like you're still feeling that Bills
No, you see, it's a winning culture. This is just the beginning.
Okay.
That drought was a long time ago. That drought was personal for me. Because like we talked about, I'm from Long Island. I grew up a Bills fan.
How did that happen?
Honestly, the first game I ever watched was a Bills-Jets game. My family were Jets fans, and I like the Bills.
A man who's antagonistic against his own family. You got to be behind Doug right from the start.
You got to see, we were at a family function for the Bills-Giants Super Bowl. And the trash I was talking, we were about to kick that field goal to win that Super Bowl. We were at a wedding. It was a wedding on Super Bowl Sunday.
That's epic foul.
Yeah, but I was talking all
Very
this trash.
self-centered.
Absolutely. And then it went wide right, and that hurt. So I decided I came to UB in 96, met my wife in 99.
Horns up.
And you know what? I decided to stay here. And right after that, the drought starts. And I was here, and I had a kid in 2007. My daughter was born.
Congratulations.
2009, my son was born.
Oh, two.
And he's
Running up the score, folks.
He's right in the middle of the drought. He doesn't root for the Bills at first. He tells me he's going to be a Patriots fan. I tried to sell him. Nobody would buy him. And, he wound up turning it around because he saw them starting to pick up the culture. And, we made the playoffs 2 years ago. He walked into the middle of he was jumping around. We were jumping around. I didn't see him. I accidentally hit him as I was jumping around. Now he's a diehard Bills fan. And that seems like it was forever ago. They're starting now. It's starting now. They're just building it. Brandon Beane is building a winner.
What's your favorite Brandon Beane move that you feel like? I mean, there's been a couple of them. I feel like those fans would probably get behind. But what do you think is the biggest move that he's made?
That's a toughie. I mean, he really has brought in a winner. I love Jordan Phillips on that D-line, and he really, what a difference. And he's just bringing winners in. He's bringing guys that want to be here. That stigma of not wanting to come to Buffalo is gone because of him. People want to come here. Players love staying here. Jordan Phillips comes from Miami, comes to Buffalo. That's all he talks about is how much he loves it here. That's because Brandon Beane. And the winner, Sean McDermott, building a winner, building that culture. That drought, it's over. This is now.
Listen to this guy preach right now.
I mean, he's got me tearing up. I mean, I'm thinking about back to the little moves that Beane made. I mean, he made a couple trades in the preseason where those guys that he traded ended up getting released.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, he got value for players that he wouldn't even got. He just seems like he's constantly looking to make moves and constantly looking to improve the team, which in 2019, now going into 2020, I don't know why I'm saying 2019, is exactly what you want as a Bills fan.
Yeah, absolutely. He's bringing in guys that maybe are undervalued by their team, but fit right into our team. He's building a team that works together. They're not all the greatest players, but they work together, and they want to work together for him, for Buffalo, for Sean McDermott, for the Mafia. I mean, they love it. That's what it's all about. This is the time now, and Brady, he's done. Belichick's going to hell.
He's in the twilight. I mean, he's basically throwing grounding on every other play. I mean, these refs got to start calling it some way. I think that's why the Patriots are only a 4.5-point favorite this week.
Yeah.
But with that said, you said the drought, it feels like it's so distant in the past. I think it's because this team really has an identity, Matt. I mean, that these guys have accountability for each other. I think back just to even the Rex Ryan era. I mean, you have a guy like Jerry Hughes who played in both. How many personal foul penalties was Jerry Hughes taking a game under the Rex Ryan? It's because they had no accountability. They were told, go bully the other team and go be a tough guy. Whereas McDermott has preached having accountability, fulfilling your assignments, and it feels like that defense is just going to be stalwart. If they can make a couple plays on the offensive side of the ball, the Buffalo Bills will be in every NFL game going forward.
All right, real quick before the next one, who's winning the game?
Bills.
What's the score?
Oh, it's definitely going to be 27-13 Bills.
27-13.
It's not even going to be close.
I will be going nuts in section 632 if it's 27-13.
When do you leave?
Friday morning, Al and myself are flying in.
There you go.
As long as we don't have Tony Corrente as our ref, we're good to go.
Doug, thank you so much, man.
Thank
You
you.
did great.
Let's get a win this weekend.
Let's go, brother.
All right.
Pardon, look at that. Thanks. Appreciate you. Gotta load up.
I hear you. I'll put that in.
Hey, appreciate you.
All right, so we're moving right along here. We're 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. We're moving into overtime. I mean, we played our 4 quarters. It's time to go to overtime.
Some would argue that we saved the best for last. I wouldn't, but some would, and I'm
Some would.
super appreciate
You got to be
that.
fair to everybody.
No, I'm just kidding around. This is my man, Michael Partham. Listen, this dude comes out and supports everything that we do in media.
One of the most active social media guys I know.
But he was out at Tim Graham's event a few weeks ago, and actually, that probably helped him win this contest because got a couple extra entries into the contest. Love this dude. Great supporter of Bills Mafia and everything that we do. Come on in here.
Great even-keeled supporter of the Bills.
Did you get a fresh haircut for this?
Did you?
I did.
It looks like you keep, it looks like all the time.
I keep my lettuce extra tight. All the time.
Yeah, me too.
You have to
Me
be when
too.
you're a professional. Unlike some
Actually,
people. Unlike
so
Dave
actually, wait
Mustaine
a
over
second.
here.
Let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
You tweeted something really controversial last night.
I did.
It was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And you said you were cutting that mane.
I said I was cutting it. I was going new year, new me. You know what? I had a moment of weakness in 2019, but that was a decade ago. I'm moving forward in 2020. If I have to be Gandalf, I just have to be Gandalf. The Sabres did that to me, and that's his fate I have to accept.
Don't cut your hair.
All right. We got Michael Partham, who
Hollywood Partham.
has some takes on takes, as I like to say. Houston Texans, Buffalo Bills. Very advantageous matchup for the Bills that you like. Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, let me tell you something, Mean Matt.
Mean Matt. Let's go.
As we all know, the Bills have been facing some of the toughest defenses in the NFL in the last 3 games that have actually mattered. The Houston Texans are not one of the toughest defenses in the NFL.
Swiss cheese.
As a matter of fact, they are bottom 5 in total defense, bottom 5 in passing defense.
Tell 'em, King.
They're mid-tier in scoring. Let me just rattle off some stats here that you may have seen over Twitter.
He's got stats. Guy came with talking points.
The worst statistical defense currently remaining in the playoffs. I already said bottom 5.
Are you telling me that their DVOA isn't great?
I'm saying it's all bad.
What?
Thad Brown from WROC, credit to him for passing these along.
Uh-oh.
They actually have the most yards per play allowed. The worst red zone defense. This is total, not just in the playoffs. Second worst third down defense. Marcel Louis Shot, you saw this on Twitter. Texans are 0-3 in the playoffs when facing a top 3 scoring defense, which just happens to be us, the Bills.
But who can forget when Bill O'Brien picked up that big playoff win over the Connor Cook-led Oakland Raiders? I mean, that was an absolute dominant performance.
See, I was about to give him credit now that I remembered.
No doubt about it.
But the key to this
You
is...
say they're playing the worst defense they've played in a month and a half. The stats say that.
And we score 20 points at least when we play a bad defense, when we come along them. But you see, the key to the game is not so much that J.J. Watt is here, but why J.J. Watt's here.
Okay.
He's coming off of
They're desperate. They're
he's coming off
desperate.
a long-term injury in season for the first time in his career. He was injured long-term in 2016, 2017, took him out of the whole season. He just went through his rehab. He came back the next year. This is the first time he's trying to come back in season. And even the last 3 games that he played, he didn't register a sack. So he's not even the J.J. Watt of old, and he's trying to make a comeback. And you saw this, you past this along. Romeo Cornell is trying to ease him along within the game. And he sounds like they may even try to limit his snaps. So
I'm hearing third downs only. Hashtag third downs only.
if it's going to be the same defense and J.J. Watt is not even going to play that many snaps and he's not that effective as he used to be, then basically we're all set. We're all set to score at least 20 points in this game, which with our defense is
Game
the key to
over.
victory every
Lock it
week.
up. Couldn't have said it better myself. I mean,
I'm standing here now.
we have had our interns at Trainwreck Sports inside the Houston Texans locker room, everything this past week. They are using low blood circulation workouts to bring J.J. Watt along. So I know you didn't expect that little high intel. So what happens is that muscle tissue can actually grow and like get that tempo and that endurance with lesser workouts if you have lower blood circulation. So the Texans are one of the only organizations in the NFL to utilize this technique. They started it in 2015. So that's a big reason why J.J. Watt's able to recover from an injury he had 5-6 weeks ago, versus a Buffalo Bill had the same injury this year. He's been out all year. So
8 weeks.
8 weeks.
I would have thought they would just swapped out his blood like they do with Tom Brady every other week or so.
No, I mean J.J. Watt, his pecs are not great. My pecs, 100%, 100% pecs.
Listen, I think you have great hair.
Yeah.
Your pecs.
My pecs are 100% though. That's the thing. They're not 70% like J.J. Watt's are. Mine are 100%.
Michael, thank you so much, my man. Who wins? What's the score?
Give it to us.
I'm going to say we score more than 20 points, we've been scoring 17 points against these great defenses. I say we get at least 1 or 2 more scores. Bills 23, Texans 17. Lock it in.
There we go.
Under from Bartham. Under.
Thanks, brother.
Love it.
No problem.
Thanks, Mike P.
Wow, this was some fun, man. Did you have
I mean,
fun?
this is
That's
why
all
you
I
bring
care
the.
about.
Well,
You had some fun.
I haven't not had fun since 2013. So this is a huge streak I got going. I'm hoping to keep it rolling as we go into Houston. As this playoff week rolls on, let's face it, as fans and Bills fans, we've suffered enough. Let's not argue this week. Let's enjoy this week going into the game. Maybe Frank Gore has like an early season game like when he was dominating in weeks 1 through 4. Maybe Singletary has his big breakout game on the national stage. Let's just enjoy what the Bills have going, the fact that we can talk about our team being in the playoffs. That's the most important thing. I feel like there's just so much arguing. I mean, you remember in the middle of the season, we have to have style wins. There's just so much bickering back and forth. I just want fans to enjoy this playoffs.
It's interesting that you bring up the style wins because Josh Allen talked today or this week about the fact that this team doesn't care about that. They care about finding a way to win.
Get me one more point on that scoreboard.
Exactly. And so they're going to go on the road in Houston where they've played well last year. They've proved that they can win on the road. And so I, too, am picking the Buffalo Bills to beat the Houston Texans. Buffalo Bills 28, Houston Texans 21.
Okay,
Scoring affair, and I do think that this defense is probably going to score a point because I think that's something that I've talked about all season is something I was expecting. A defense that can turn the ball over, turn it into points, score some points, and I think they can do it this week. I think they're going to be charged up. They're coming off of a performance against the New England Patriots where they gave up 400+ yards for only the second time this season. They got to prove themselves. They got to come out here and carry their weight.
Dable has shown if Josh Allen can complete 60% of his passes, he can basically guide you on a game plan to victory. So that's what we need Josh to do, 60% of his passes. I think they get that done. Maybe they're not. The defense plays well. They might not be as effective on the plus side of the field as they are on the minus. They might get yards but not make it count. I think we get 4 Stephen Hauschka field goals, 26-17, Bills win.
There you go.
We're on to the divisional round.
All right. For Maniac, Zach Sheldon, you can follow him on Twitter there, Trainwreck Sports. He is the man. I'm so appreciative of you doing this with me today, man. Really
You're the man. I mean, it goes back to training camp. Real quick before we sign off, a lot of Bills media had a feeling that this team might be like 8-8 or better, whereas a lot of the pundits, Vegas and everything, 6-7 wins were the predictions. What do you think was the biggest thing that stood out to local media versus the national media?
About why they could be successful.
About why, yeah, because I mean, we talked to Ryan Talbot last week. He said a lot of the local media was onto it before the national media.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I predicted 10 wins, and I even think I was being a little cautious.
Oh yeah, okay, yep.
Because I thought that if a couple breaks went the right way, they could have some success. But I think it all came down to what was the development of Josh Allen going to be? Was he going to take the necessary steps? And look what he's done. He's gone out there, 29 touchdown passes, 29 touchdowns total.
6th most touchdowns in the league this year.
Exactly.
If you had told someone at the beginning of the year he's not going to have 15+ picks and he's going to have the 6th most touchdowns, we would have signed up for that in a second.
Exactly. And the defense has been what the defense we thought
amazing,
it would be.
amazing.
And so they're where they're at, and they have a chance to really give the fan base a win that they've been starving for.
We need it. I want it. I am going to literally eat J.J. Watt's family tree on Saturday.
All right, for the Maniac, Zach Sheldon, I am Matt Parrino. Follow us all week long, nyupsyracuse.com. I'm heading down to Houston tomorrow with breaking news. Ryan Talbot,
RT!
hitting the road with Matt Parrino. We are going to be down in Houston, bringing you all the coverage the next couple days. We're so excited about it. We'll see you then.